As the day comes to a close and the world outside begins to quiet down, do you ever find yourself lying awake at night, struggling to calm your mind and find rest? You're not alone. In fact, millions of people around the world struggle with sleep and anxiety, often feeling overwhelmed and unsure of where to turn. But what if I told you that there's a way to break free from the cycle of stress and anxiety and find the peace and rest you've been searching for? Tonight, we're going to explore 3 powerful bedtime Bible verses that have the potential to transform your life and help you sleep more soundly. So, keep watching until the end as we dive into these life-changing verses and discover the peace and rest that's available to you. As we begin, let's take a look at our first verse, Psalm 4 verse 4. This verse says, "Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still." Have you ever stopped to think about the importance of taking time to reflect on your thoughts, emotions, and actions? In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life and forget to take care of our inner selves. But this verse reminds us that taking time to commune with our own hearts and be still is essential for finding peace and rest, and it's especially important to do so before bed, as it can help calm our minds and prepare our bodies for rest. In a world that's constantly telling us to be more, do more, and achieve more, it's refreshing to come across a verse that reminds us of the importance of simply being still. And yet, this is exactly what Psalm 4 verse 4 encourages us to do. It invites us to slow down, take a deep breath, and focus on the present moment. As we reflect on this verse, let's ask ourselves, what would it look like for us to truly be still before bed? Would it mean putting away our phones and electronic devices? Would it mean taking a few moments to meditate or practice deep breathing exercises? Whatever it looks like for you, remember that being still is not a luxury, but a necessity for finding peace and rest. Now, let's move on to our second verse, Philippians 4 verses 6 to 7. This verse says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This verse reminds us that anxiety and worry are natural human emotions, but they don't have to control us. Instead, we can bring our concerns and fears to God in prayer and trust that He will give us peace that surpasses all understanding. It's interesting to note that this verse doesn't say we'll never face anxious thoughts or difficult circumstances, but it does promise that when we bring our worries to God, He will guard our hearts and minds with His peace. So, how can we apply this verse to our lives? What would it look like for us to bring our anxieties and worries to God in prayer, rather than trying to carry them on our own? Would it mean setting aside time each day to pray and reflect on our thoughts and emotions? Would it mean sharing our concerns with a trusted friend or family member and asking for their prayer and support? Whatever it looks like for you, remember that God is always available to listen, and His peace is always available to those who seek it. Now, let's move on to our third and final verse, Matthew 11 verses 28 to 30. This verse says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." This verse is an invitation from Jesus Himself to come to Him when we're feeling weary and burdened. He promises to give us rest, not just physical rest, but rest for our souls. Think about it. How many of us are carrying around burdens that we were never meant to carry? Burdens of anxiety, fear, worry, and stress. We try to carry them on our own, but they're too heavy, and we end up feeling exhausted and drained. But Jesus says, "Come to me, and I will give you rest." He's not saying that He'll take away all our problems and challenges, but He's saying that He'll give us the strength and the peace to carry them. So, what does it mean to take Jesus' yoke upon us? It means to surrender our burdens to Him, to trust in His goodness and His love, and to follow His lead. It means to learn from Him, to listen to His voice, and to obey His commands. As we reflect on this verse, let's ask ourselves, what burdens am I carrying around that I need to surrender to Jesus? What areas of my life do I need to trust Him with? Let's take a moment to pray and ask Jesus to give us rest, to take our burdens upon Himself, and to guide us in His ways. As we come to the end of this video, remember that God's peace is available to you, no matter what challenges you're facing. May these 3 bedtime Bible verses be a source of comfort and strength to you, and may you rest in God's peace tonight and every night. As you drift off to sleep tonight, remember that God is always with you, watching over you and guiding you. May His peace fill your heart and mind, and may you wake up tomorrow feeling refreshed, renewed, and ready to face whatever challenges come your way. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more inspirational content.